Ladies and gentlemen, let me give you a little dose of reality.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Real Talk Fins Talk. I'm your host, Steve Molloy, and thank you very much for joining the show tonight. Whatever platform you're on, whether it's Twitch, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Twitter, come over here to the YouTube channel, Real Talk Fins Talk on the Fins Talk Sports Network. If you're new to the channel, hit that bell down there, that subscribe button bell, and then share with your friends, your families, and your neighbors. Make sure you're hitting that like button if you're as you're coming in to the house. I'd appreciate that very, very much. Also, remember everyone, we may not always agree everything about the Dolphins, but there's one thing we can agree on. We are all Dolph fans. So keep that in mind as we go on with the show tonight. Finn Sammy's in the house. Appreciate you, brother, for joining. Make sure you all check out Finn Sammy. I'm not quite sure if he's still under construction or not, his channel. But when he comes back online, make sure you go over there, subscribe to Finn Sammy. And he's always got some great content over there and a great cast of characters, too. So he's a really good content creator in the Dolphins community. So anyway, appreciate you for joining, Finn Sammy. I wanted to make a few announcements before I get started with the show. Number one, I have another show called Aging and Strong. It's on the Fins Talk Sports Network Extra. Fins Talk Sports Network Extra. Make sure you go over there and check that show out, Aging and Strong, where I talk about the 50 plus community, men and women, on aging and getting strong and nutrition and things of that nature. I've got some really good guests up and coming. I had Andy Baker, who was the author or co-author of the book Barbell Prescription, which was for folks that are over 40. It gives them their basic barbell training up to intermediate and also advanced training for older individuals, male and female. And also goes over anatomy, some physiology, some really good stuff in there in that book, Barbell Prescription. But go over there and check that channel. My last show was titled Muscle is Medicine, and I talked about why is muscle medicine. And you can check the Andy Baker show as well. That's still up over there in Fins Talk Sports Extra. But also, I'm going to be inviting a WBA former world champion boxer. He lives here in the Houston area. I'm acquainted with him, and he's going to join the channel. And he also works with Masters Boxers. Masters Boxers is anyone that's 35 and over. These guys go and they fight. They actually, I shouldn't say fight. They actually box in the ring. They get in the ring and they box. Some of them are 60, 70 years old, still, fighting and boxing. So make sure you look out for that. I'm going to have him as a guest. He's going to talk about how he works with them and a little bit about his background, how he got started in boxing. He's now a champion boxer in the bare knuckle. Okay, he does bare knuckle boxing, and he is now a champion. He was a former middleweight champion. Okay, and he fought against Canelo and a few others. That the names are skipping me right now. Cotto, he's fought Cotto and Miguel Cotto and some others. So that ought to be interesting. I'm going to try and get him on and talk a little bit about how he deals with some of these, trains the masters boxers. And you're never too old to learn how to box, right? Also, I'm going to have a renowned heart surgeon on. I got in touch with him. Right now, he's in the middle of writing another book. He has one on the market now. I'm not going to name him. I want to keep that kind of confidential right now. But he's a very renowned heart surgeon, and he's going to talk about um, how we've been, I guess, deceived in cholesterol and all those kinds of things, cardiovascular diseases and things like that, how we can prevent that as we age, and what we can do about it if we're presently in, say, some type of chronic disease as far as heart goes. So he's going to be very interesting as well. So those are some things to look forward to on Aging and Strong on the Fins Talk Sports Network. Also, next week, thank you, Elwood, for joining. I see Frozen Fin fan, brother. Thank you for joining. So now next week I will not have a show. I will be on vacation. Well, I'm retired, but I will be on vacation visiting South Florida. I'll be down in South Florida visiting family down there. Spend about 10 days down there, so I won't have a show. I say that, but I might hop on the phone, maybe do, a 20, 30-minute show if any news breaks or whatever. So I'll do that. So those are the announcements that I had to make. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Also, as we all know, the rookies reported for camp this week. Today was their first day. Not much information, much news, out there on the rookies other than they reported to camp. I'm keeping an eye out right now on the Jonah Sevanaya, or however you pronounce his name. I apologize. The guard that we drafted. He is. I don't even have any information if he's holding out or not. There's that. The second picks of the draft are a lot of these guys want guaranteed monies. They want to get paid guaranteed monies. Now, I don't know if that's going to be a good thing or bad thing for us. Some of the drawbacks to that is if he doesn't work out, then he's guaranteed all that money. And he's going to be with us, right? Another Liam Eichenberg thing, right? Also, on the same token, what if he gets hurt? It can happen, and then he's still guaranteed the monies. Now, I know with the guaranteed monies, they can always move that up. Keep moving it up, pushing it up, or pushing it back. And everything, and are moving it forward. So I don't know. It's a tricky situation. I mean, I don't believe the Miami Dolphins should pay the man guaranteed monies. I think he should get what a second draft pick should get. I'm old school. You know what I mean? I don't understand these folks. Now what's going to happen if we pay him? Right? What if all these guys of the 31 teams or 32 teams, they get all their monies, right? Guaranteed, right? Is that going to start a trend now where now the third pick in a draft pick is going to want more money? It's just going to start a domino effect, and it's going to continue to go on and on and on and on. When's it going to stop? So anyway, man, I remember back in the day, I started watching football in 1969. You got drafted. It was an honor to be drafted by a team. It was a privilege, right? It's a privilege to play in the NFL, right? At least back then it was, and players honored their contracts. They played it out, and they didn't get paid very much either. Grant you, right? These guys had full-time jobs at the end of the season. I remember when I was living in South Florida. I grew up down there. I remember seeing Jim Mandich. He lived in the area I lived in. He had a construction company. He was an entrepreneur, but in the off season, he was running his construction company, right? My aunt, she worked at a bank down there in South Florida, and Murphy Morse used to come in there to cash his paycheck and everything, or deposit his paycheck. He was only making $1,500 a week. Now, I mean, you say, oh, $1,500 a week. That's, to me, that's decent money, right? But back then, for a football player, that was peanuts, putting your life on the line. and all that. But it just goes to show you how these guys had a passion for the game. They loved the game, right? They loved the game. These kids nowadays I've heard some kids are getting paid in high school now. They're getting paid in high school. College, you're making millions of dollars now. They're not going to the big schools. They're going to the schools that pay them the most. It don't matter if they're good, bad, or in between. They're going to go to the school that pays them the most. Right? What about their education and full scholarships? And they're getting paid. Don't make sense to me. It does not make sense to me at all. The guy hasn't even earned it. Jonah hasn't played one NFL snap. For goodness sakes, this was his first day in training camp, if he even showed up. That's not going to be good if he doesn't show up and he holds out, right? I mean, this kid needs all the reps he can get. He's playing it out of position. Well, he's playing into a position that he hasn't played in a while. I mean, when he was in college, he was playing tackle. Now he's going to be playing left guard. He's going to be going against some big dudes, big defensive tackles. This ain't college, man. This ain't, this is the real deal now, man. He's playing against guys that are sometimes better than him or just as good as him. And he hasn't taken one snap yet. And these guys, I get it. The agents are putting pressure on him. Hey, no, hold out. We're going to try to get this for you and get that for you. Look, I don't blame them, right? Okay. To get the money. But come on, it's just ridiculous, man. Anyway, tonight I wanted to talk to you all about the Miami Dolphins, of course. This year, in my opinion, my humble opinion, I got some stats here that I took my time and I looked and I wrote down by hand and everything, and I'm going to go over those. But this offense is going to have to come out strong this year. Okay. I'm not even sure this defense is going to be as good as it was last year, at least the front. We know the cornerback position, at least on, right now, up to this point on paper, they're not going to be very good. And we're going to be playing 8 playoff teams from last year. Okay. I don't know what it's going to be this year, right? We don't know how these teams are going to turn out during the course of the year, how it plays out, right? But just on paper, from last year's records and playoff teams, we're playing 8 this year, and we're going to be playing against some really, really good quarterbacks and quarterbacks that are just not pocket passers. These quarterbacks can create off script and are mobile quarterbacks. Okay. So it's going to be a tough job for this defense. This defense may take a couple 3-4 games before they get popping, right? Before they got the chemistry and they're gelling and everything is going, good for them, right? So this offense has to come out and they are going to have to win. And I mean, they're going to have to put up numbers. They're going to have to average 27, 28, 30 points a game, this offense. Okay. There are going to be some shootouts, at least I think in the first few games. Okay. Even against the Indianapolis Colts, even against the Patriots. Okay. Those are your first 2 games of the season, man. And I think they're going to have to put big numbers up in those games to set the tone. They're going to have to do it all year consistently, in my opinion. So what I did was I went and I looked at the rankings of the offenses and the defenses of 3 teams. Of course, one is the Miami Dolphins and the 2 Super Bowl teams, Kansas City and Philadelphia. And I compared them, how Miami ranks with these guys. And then at the end, I'm going to tell you what the problem is and why I believe we can't get over the hump. And I'm going to tell you why. And this is something that folks have talked about, and then now they've kind of put it under the rug. It's not talked about anymore. But I'm tired of it, man. I'm just gonna let it out, and I'm gonna tell you what the problem is, what the deal is. I'm gonna be honest. This is my opinion, right? It's opinion, okay? But there's some facts in that opinion too. All right. So I'm gonna go over the offense first. Philadelphia's offense last year was ranked 8th. Kansas City's offense last year was ranked 17th. These are two Super Bowl teams. They were 17th. You know what Miami's offense was ranked last year? You know what Miami's offense was ranked last year? 18th. 18th. Right behind the Kansas City Chiefs. Total yards for Philadelphia, 6,242. Kansas City, 5,570. Miami Dolphins, 5,541. Philadelphia averaged 187 yards a game passing last year. 187 yards. Kansas City averaged 222 yards passing with Mahomes. Miami Dolphins, even with Tua only playing 11 games. And how many quarterbacks did we have playing last year? We had Huntley, we had Boyle at one point, and we had Skylar Thompson in one game, right? Even with those guys playing. 219 yards a game. 219 yards a game. Rushing yards per game. Philadelphia, 179. Kansas City, they had 105 yards rushing per game. Guess what Miami's was? 105 yards rushing per game. Points per game. Here's where it gets good. Points per game. Philadelphia was averaging 27 points per game. Kansas City, they were averaging 22 points per game. Miami Dolphins were averaging 20 points per game. 20 points per game. Let's go to the defensive side of the ball. Philadelphia's defense, Vic Fangio, guy that we had here in the Miami Dolphins, a few players, you remember Jafon Holland kicking rocks on X, and Jalen Ramsey didn't like the way that he was being positioned on the team. Remember that? Philadelphia's defense was ranked number 1, ladies and gentlemen. They were ranked number 1. Kansas City's defense was ranked number 9. Guess what Miami's defense was ranked with Anthony Weaver? 4. Yes, you heard that correctly. The Miami Dolphins defense was ranked 4th. Kansas City was ranked 9. Philadelphia allowed 4,732 yards on defense. Kansas City allowed 5,343. And the Miami Dolphins allowed 5,441. Remember, these are two blue Super Bowl teams we're talking about here. What's the difference, ladies and gentlemen? What's the difference? What's the X factor here? I'm going to drive on. On pass defense, Philadelphia allowed 174 yards. Kansas City, 218. Guess what Miami averaged? The defense allowed 210. Rushing, Philly allowed 104. Kansas City allowed 101 yards per game. Miami, 103. Not much of a difference. Now, points. Philadelphia allowed 17 points per game. Good defense, man. Kansas City, they allowed 21 points per game. Miami, as much as we want to talk about Miami, right? 19. It's not bad. That's not bad at all. Okay, turnovers. Here's where it gets a little where Miami is really going to have to improve big time. Big time. This made the difference in the defenses. And you're going to see as I go along here. Philadelphia had 13 interceptions. Kansas City also had 13 interceptions. Miami had 10. So we're still doing pretty good, right? No excuses that Miami had a bad defense. Come on now. Fumbles. Philadelphia did have 13 recoveries. Kansas City had 7. Miami had 6. With total turnovers, Philadelphia had 26 defensive turnovers, right? Kansas City had 20. Miami only had 16. That's a big that can make a big difference in a game. 16 and 26. That's 10 more turnovers. That opportunities for the defense to get their offense on the field, right? Interceptions, Philly only had 6. Kansas City had 11, Miami had 10. Oh no, my bad. Giveaways. These are giveaways. Yeah, giveaways. So giveaways on the offensive side of the ball for Kansas City, Miami, and Philadelphia. Philly only had 6 interceptions on their offense. Kansas City had 11. Miami had 10. Fumbles, Philly had 9. Kansas City only had 3. Miami had 11. Not big difference there. They had a total of 15 for Philly. Kansas City had 14. Miami had 21. That's a big difference. Okay. So both on offense and defense, Miami has to improve the turnover ratio. This defense is going to have to get a few more interceptions, create a few more fumbles on defense. And on offense, that's not too bad as far as interceptions. 10 interceptions is not bad at all. Well, considering Tua played only 11 games, right? And I think he only had 8 or 9 interceptions, if not maybe a little less when 11 games. But that fumbles, 11 fumbles, they got to improve on that. And they were critical fumbles, right? Maybe at the wrong time and stuff. You got to put everything into context. I get it. But I'm just doing a general comparison. Cap for Life, how you doing, brother? Thanks for joining, man. So yeah, and they had total turnovers of 21 on offense. So they got to improve on that, man. They got to get it down to 15, 16 or less. Less would be better because this offense, like I said, they're going to have to lead the way this year. And one of the ways is they're gonna have to play turnover free. They cannot be turning over the ball. There's not much room for error with this offense this year at all. All right, let's go to the quarterbacks. Okay. Here's where it gets interesting. Quarterback rating, Jalen Hurts, 103. Mahomes, 93. Tua, 101. Now, yeah, I agree. I agree, Elwood. More sacks, got to get some more turnovers, man. Sacks, interceptions, fumbles. Yeah, it's got to go up in the defense for sure. And lessen on the offense side of the ball. I agree. So maybe Tua's quarterback rating would have gone down if he played those other 6 games, right? Because remember, he was 6-5. His win to loss record was 6-5. We don't know if he would have won those games or lost those games, and we'll never know, right? But he was 6-5, just barely over 500. Passing percentage: Hurts 68, Mahomes 67, Tua 72. Again, he had a high ratio of passes, screen passes, short passes, right? All year. That brings that percentage up. High percentage passes. Hurts, he only had 18 TDs. Passing. That's the key. He had 18, but only passing. Mahomes had 26. Tua had 19 in 11 games. Interceptions: Hurts had 5. Played pretty good. Mahomes had 11. Tua only had 7 in 11 games. Mahomes played 16 games. Hurts played 15 games. So both of them didn't play a full season, and it wasn't because of injury. Although Mahomes plays with injury, and so does Hurts. Tua made of glass. Now here's something interesting as well. In 15 games, Hurts got sacked 38 times. Oh, but they got the number 1 offense in the offensive line in the league, in NFL. But he got sacked 38 times. Mahomes, he's got a great O-line. One of the best. He got sacked 36 times. Oh, but Tua's got a terrible O-line. In 11 games, he got sacked 21 times. So not even 2 sacks a game. All right, say he gets 2 sacks a game in 17, that's 34. So he's up there with those guys that have a really good O-line. All right. Now here's where I was very surprised. Well, not so much in the rushing, but how many hits did Jalen Hurts obtain last year? How many quarterback hits? Anybody want to guess? How many quarterback hits did Mahomes sustain last year? Anybody want to guess? Anybody want to guess? Over 60 times, almost 70 times, I believe. Go look it out. Go look it up. Check it out. Same with Mahomes. Quarterback hits over 60 times. That means pressure was coming in on him. You know how many times Tua Tagovailoa got hit in 11 games? 11 times. And we're talking about this O-line sucks. Now, of course, he gets the ball out quick, and that's what's saving him. Do you all really want Tua back there for more than 2.1, 2.3 seconds? Do you really want him back there? Do you actually want him trying to create off script and being more of a mobile quarterback? Do we really want that? That's a limitation for him. Another limitation, he can't throw outside the numbers consistently. I didn't say he can't. I said he can't throw it consistently outside the numbers. And defenses were killing us there. They were giving us the outside the numbers. They were just begging for Tua to throw outside the numbers or in the middle of the field or a deep pass. Couldn't do it. Limitation. And it wasn't because of the O-line. It's the quarterback's limitation. That is the problem with the Miami Dolphins football team that nobody wants to talk about. Everybody wants to just throw it under the rug, okay? And all they do is make excuses. Last year it was the it was 2 or 3 years ago. Oh, it was the injuries. And then it was the receivers. And then it was the running backs can't get 1 or 2 yards and all that kind of stuff. The dude cannot create off script. He cannot throw outside the numbers consistently. That is the problem. We've got a limited quarterback, and he's holding this Miami Dolphins football team back. We've got a 4th-ranked defense. Our offense was it was 18, okay, mid. So was Kansas City. But what's their X factor? What's the difference? Extended plays like Mondo said. Creating off script, scrambling around, finding an open receiver, bringing those safeties up because they're afraid that our quarterback might run along with the running backs. Our running backs are not the best in the world, but Jesus, they've got lightning speed. But when you have a quarterback that's limited with a weak arm in NFL standards, and he's not mobile, and he can't extend plays. Now, I'm not saying he hasn't. He has. But the difference is Mahomes and Jalen Hurts are extending the play 6, 7 times, 4, 5, 6, 7 times a game. Tua, maybe once every other game. I agree, Cosa Nostra. This is it for Tua Tagovailoa, ladies and gentlemen, whether you like it or not. This is it. If he gets hurt this year or Miami doesn't make it to the playoffs, I don't think he's going to be around much longer. This might be his last year. This is a do or die season for Tua Tagovailoa, ladies and gentlemen. Because I'm tired of this crap about, oh, we need an O-line in the running game, and man, everything's going to be just peachy and hunky-dory, and we're going to win playoff games, and we're going to do this and do that. I don't care if we do have a better running game. If you can't extend plays, because it's going to happen when you play against good teams and good defenses, good defensive coordinators, you're going to have to go off script. You're going to have to extend plays at one time or another. When a defense is playing good against your offense and your defense is playing good against their offense, you're playing good against good teams, and you're even, who makes the difference? I know it's a team game, but who is going to make the difference? The quarterback, the captain of the team, the guy that's making the most money on the team, especially on our team. He dang well better extend the play. He dang well better carry this team when offense is struggling. Mahomes does it. Hurts does it. Baker Mayfield does it. 17, 18, 20 other quarterbacks do it. So I'm tired of this crap. It's the O-line's fault. It's the running back's fault. It's the injuries' fault. It's the coach's fault. No, it's the quarterback's fault. Period. That's the problem with this Miami Dolphins football team. He can't carry it. He can't do it. He can't get us over the hump. Tua Tagovailoa. Tua. I'm not a Tua hater, but I hate the way he plays. And I hate what he's doing to this Miami Dolphins football team. Our football team. He's holding us back financially and play-wise. I don't care how many stats he puts up. Big deal. How many playoff games we have? Not one in 25 years. All right, so let's go to the rushing. Hurts had 630 rushing yards. Mahomes, he's not a runner, but he can create, he can scramble, and if he has to run, he can. And make plays on the run. 301 yards rushing. He only had 2 TDs. Hurts had 14 TDs. Between him and Saquon Barkley, I think Barkley had like 13, 14 TDs as well. Okay? So, yes, does a running game help? Will the running game help a quarterback? Yes, if he's not Tua Tagovailoa. Nobody's scared of Tua Tagovailoa creating off script, extending plays, throwing outside the numbers. Nobody's scared of him. In fact, they invite it. You know what's going to happen this year if Miami has a better running game? Okay, so what? You know what the teams are going to say? Run. Run on us. When you get down to the goal line, we're going to tighten up. Because your receivers, I don't care how fast they are, when they're on the 5 and 6 and 7 and 10 yard line, they don't have much room to move. Okay? All the running game is, if our running game is better, guess what? It just means that we're not going to be throwing as many screen passes this year because that was the extension of our running game last year. Think about this, guys and gals. Tua Tagovailoa ran 11 times in 11 games last year. 11 attempts. 49 yards, 0 TDs. That is the problem with our Miami Dolphins football team. It's not the defense, although they could get better, as Elwood said, on the turnovers and interceptions, right? Putting pressure on the quarterback. They were 4th last year. How much freaking better do you want them? I guess everybody's forgetting about 2023 when Tua had all these yards and he stayed healthy. He was on the field and we lost 7 games and didn't get into playoffs because of that. Oh, we got into the playoffs, but we lost in the first round. But we were number 1 seed. Remember what our record was? 8-3 at one time. Then we lost all those games in a row. Was that the offensive line's fault? Was that the defense's fault? I know it's a team sport. But when the tough gets going and the going gets tough, your quarterback has to come through. I'm sorry, he's going to have to carry it. That's what he gets paid for, but ladies and gentlemen. So that's the conclusion that I've come to, and I've been talking about this for at least 3 years, going on 4 this year. You know, we have no evidence of what's going to happen this year, but the last 3 years I've been talking about this. The reason why the Miami Dolphins football team is the way they are, in the pickle they are, not because of injuries, not because of the O-line, not because of the defense, because of one person on our football team. A quarterback that can't stay healthy and he can't get us over the hump. He plays terrible against good teams. He's 2-10 against teams that are over 500. Just in the last 2 years. 2 to 3 years. I'm giving him grace for the other 2 years that he played prior. I'm making excuses for him. He was a rookie. You can even say Flores treated him mean if you want. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not because he gets injured. That's part of it. It's because he doesn't have the X factor. Plain and simple. Now, change my mind to a Tagovailoa. I've been waiting for 5 years. 5 years for you to change my mind on your play. Please, Tua Tagovailoa, stay healthy this year. Win some games against good teams. Get us over the hump. That's all I'm asking from you, man. Because you are a good quarterback. You are a good quarterback. I even have you ranked at 12. Sometimes he plays at maybe 5. Sometimes he plays at 20 or 25. But to be fair, you're a good quarterback and you're ranked 12, in my opinion. But please, please, when the going gets tough and the tough gets going this year, because it is, we are going to sustain some injuries. Every team does. You've got to carry this team. You've got to lead the way. Just like Tyreek Hill said 2 or 3 years ago, we are only going to go as far as Tua takes us. His words. Now, somebody asked a question about Hayden Rutsey. I have no idea, man. Let me see. Let me go back and see who asked that if I can. Sometimes I can't. They won't let me go back. Oh, Casa Nostra said that. Yeah, Cosa Nostra said that. Yeah, I have no idea, man. I don't even know if he's going to make the team. I mean, he'll make the team probably. He'll probably be on the practice squad, I think, because you got Farrell Brown, you've got Jalen Hill, man, you've got Tanner Connor, you've got the undrafted tight end Conyers, and who else you have? We got somebody else. Oh, and you got Waller. Now, that's another question mark. We don't know. We don't know if Waller. We don't know if Waller is going to even make the team. We don't know if Waller is just going to retire again. We don't know if Waller is going to be as good as he was 3 years ago because he missed a year, and he's been hurt. He has an injury history. When he's healthy and on the field, he's a decent tight end. But how many catches is he going to get? He's our third tight end. We're going to have to, Julian Hill's going to make it. We know Farrell Brown's going to make it. Those are two blocking tight ends. And then you got Waller. Even if Hayden Rutsey does make it, how many catches is he gonna make? How many times they're going to throw the tight end? You think they're going to throw to the ball the tight end like they did last year? Especially if everybody's talking about, well, we got a better O line now, and we got Ollie Gordon and Madison and Jalen Wright. We're going to be running the ball down people's throats. How many times? You know what I mean? I mean, it's unknown. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see how that goes, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. Zonka, Kick, and Morris. Achan and Wright and Gordon. Yeah. Well, Zonka, Kick, and Morris, man, I watched them many times when it was called the Orange Bowl back in the 70s, early 70s. I've been a fan of the Dolphins since '69. I used to attend games, had season tickets from '70 till about maybe '80s. Although, yeah, I think we had season tickets from '70 to '80, maybe even longer. I don't remember now, but yeah, so I was there for those games, man. Zonka was something else, man. See, that's another thing. Everybody thinks that we had this great O line in the '70s, and we did. We had Larry Little and Bob Kuchenberg, Wayne Moore, Norm Evans. We had Marv Fleming, was a really good blocking tight end. We did, but Larry Zonka didn't need much of a seam to get through a hole, man. He would plunge through there. He'd make his own holes. Okay, he would make his own holes. And Mercury Morse, yeah, he wasn't a bruiser. But he didn't need much of a crack either. He was fast. He was very, very fast. I mean, he was very, very, and he was small like Achan. He was only, he was taller. He was 5'10", about 180, 185, fast as hell. But he didn't need much blocking either. And Jim Kick, he was really good coming out of the backfield, catching passes, and he was a bruiser as well. He could plow through the hole as well. But no doubt they were a good O-line, but let's not pretend like, that's the reason why these guys made all those yards, Zonka, Kick, and Morris. Those guys were very talented running backs. Zonka used to knock people 3-4 feet back, man, in the air. Go watch some film of him. Some of you younger guys, younger guys, you just don't know, man. Earl Campbell, those guys were, it was another one. But Walter Payton, all those guys. But yeah, guys, that's really all I had for tonight. I just wanted to talk about that. I just gotten upset, about I hear all this stuff about the O-line and about the running backs, and we got injuries and all these excuses. And I'm just tired of it. I know what the problem is. I know what's holding us back, and it's the quarterback position. Period. Whether you look at it because he's injured or you look at it because he just can't get us over the hump like I do. I mean, it's a combination, right? But you got to be available, man. And when you're available, you got to play. You got to be able to carry this team. I don't care. No excuses. You get hurt. How about the other, 5 games you lost? 5 out of 11 games you lost. Okay. So if he would have won 2 or 3 of those games, we would have been in the playoffs. Right? We were that close to getting into the playoffs. Now this year we've got rookies, defensive tackles, and we don't even know how Jalen Phillips is going to come back, or Bradley Chubb. And now we got a cornerback. Who knows what they can do? Yeah, we got Mika Fitzpatrick, but is he going to move the needle? I don't think he's going to move the needle, but he's going to be solid back there. He'll be a great asset in that defense. Weaver's going to, I hope he utilizes him correctly. I think he will. I have confidence in Weaver. I think we'll be I think even with the rookies and even with our cornerbacks, we could be a top 15, 12 to 15. That's what I project. I'll be very surprised if we're anything above top 12, top 10, somewhere in there. I'll be very surprised. Okay. Which is not bad. I mean, you can still win some games like that, if they can create those, like Elwood said in the chat, if we can create those turnovers, make a difference, maybe make some touchdown, fumble recovery touchdowns, interception touchdowns, something like that, or whatever. Get the offense on the field, close down there, and down in the goal line area and all that, make it a little easier for this offense. But the offense is going to have to lead the way this year, man. How many sacks? Gosh, man. I would say, how many did I say we had last year? Let me check again. Um, how many sacks did we have? I don't think I had the sacks on here. Did I? Yeah, that's one thing that I missed out on was the sacks. Yeah, I don't. Um, yeah, I didn't have it on here. That's something I missed. But yeah, I mean, if we can get, I mean, I think Zach Sealer's going to get his 8 or 10 sacks again. And it all depends on Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb and Chop. I like Chop. Um, Chop had 6 last year, I think 6 or 7. Towards the end of the year, he came on. If Chop can get that up to 10, 8, 10, maybe Phillips gets another 7 or 8 or 9, maybe. So that's 10, that's 18, that's let's see, 18, 20. If we can get 40 sacks, maybe 40, I'm saying 40, 45 sacks, man, that would be great. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but if we can get that, that would be really good. In pressures, we got to get pressure on the quarterbacks, and we got to be careful with that pressure too, because as I said, we're going to be playing against about seven really good quarterbacks, or seven, yeah, seven good quarterbacks, and some that are really good, right? You know, top 10 quarterbacks, top 12 quarterbacks. So it's going to be, and some of them are runners. I mean, they can run, right? They're mobile. They can create off script, extend plays and things like that. We got to be very careful. Remember, our defense was one area of weakness the last couple of years where we couldn't stop mobile quarterbacks. So if we can improve on that, that would be great too. So we'll see how it goes. But hey, guys, okay, we had 35 last year. So yeah, if we can get up to 45, that would be a vast improvement. And plus pressures. We got to get some pressures. We got to cause havoc back there in the behind the line of scrimmage on those quarterbacks that we're playing against this year. If we can do that, that would definitely help the cornerbacks and the defensive backs, because we only have one really legit starter, and that's Mika, right? Ashton Davis, he was kind of a role player. Oh, he played well when he was in that role. And then we've got Iffy, right? And we got from Detroit, the other safety. He's been injured. If he can stay healthy, he's a hell of a hitter. He can play in the box. He's really good tackler. But he wasn't a starter either, right? I mean, they had some really good safety room in Detroit too, but then he couldn't stay healthy when he was on the field. So a lot plays into it. Look, I don't have any high expectations for the Dolphins this year. I really don't. Um, Realistically, I've said 8 or 9 wins. If all the rookies come to play, and you know, and even if the running game gets a little better and the offensive line plays a little better, and maybe Tua steps his game up a little bit, maybe, and he stays healthy, and maybe he can create a little more off script. Maybe he's healthy where he can do that. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. I mean, I've seen it, but not consistent. If he can be a little more consistent in that area, then I think we could win 10 games. I think we could win 10 games. I think that's our ceiling. And that's if everybody stays healthy too, because we're going to get injuries. Just hopefully they're not in critical areas of need, right? So, yeah, 10-6. But I wouldn't be surprised if we go 6-11. If we go 6-11, I wouldn't be surprised. Realistically, 8-9, and as I said, the ceiling is 10-6. In my opinion, that's just my opinion. Marshall, you think Marshall will start week 1? Um, okay, Elwood. Yeah, 55 would be great, brother. Well, look, the information that I have received, now these were just mini camps, right? It wasn't joint practices or actual real training camp coming up here on July 26th, right? So I'm waiting for that. That's going to be interesting. From what I understand, um, I got two perspectives. Omar Kelly said nobody has had stood out. Nobody's standing out in the cornerback and safety room at the time. Okay, we got Mika since then, but nobody was really making a name for themselves, right? Um, then I also heard, well, yeah, there's a who was it? I can't remember. Sheffield, I think it is. I think he's a veteran cornerback that we acquired. Picked him up. Um, he said he was playing well, but who are we comparing him to, right? Who are we comparing him to? So Marshall covered the best wide receiver in the SEC. Oh, Mars. Yeah, that's who I say, Finn Sammy. Who? Marshall covered the best wide receiver in SEC in the wrong scheme for his whole college career. He has talent. Okay, so he has talent. Good. And you know how many players in the NFL have talent, Elwood? A lot of players have talent, or they wouldn't be in the NFL. Let's see if he can play against better talent in the NFL. College in the NFL is totally different. But I see your point. He was playing against the best receivers in the SEC. Okay. A lot of those come out of there and they make it in the NFL and they do really good, right? So we'll see, man. We'll see how it turns out. But anyway, guys, I got to get going. I really appreciate it, man. Everybody that joined, making comments. Elwood, Cap for Life, Finn Sammy. Make sure you check Finn Sammy if he's not under construction. His show, Finn's TV. Make sure you catch him when he comes back online if he's not already. You got Frozen Finn Fan that was in here. Appreciate you, brother. Make sure you check his show. I know he's been fighting fires out there in Alaska. And appreciate you for joining, brother, taking the time out of your day. And I know you're probably tired and exhausted. I can't even imagine. But go check his show out. Frozen Finn Fan. He makes great content. Also, I want to give a shout out to Finn's Faithful podcast, Jason Sarney and George over there. They put out good content. I love them. TD Finn's Talk. I know there's a bunch of folks out there put great content. I don't remember them all. The Blitz, Pickup, they're good. Who else? I'm missing someone. Oh, my man from Ace Per Head, my brother from Ace Per Head, Curtis. You want to go see some good evaluations about players on the O-line and stuff like that? He's the expert. He knows what he's talking about. And I agree with him on the O-line. I definitely agree with him. I think the O-line needed to get better. Eichenberg, he needed to go. So hopefully, Jonah doesn't hold out too long and he can develop some chemistry with the rest of the guys. And James Daniels, comes off his injury and he's healthy again. But I agree. I think running game would help. And I think O-line would help. But I don't think it's going to move the needle for us only because we don't have the X factor. So, but we'll see. I'm hoping that we do better this year. Hopefully, I'm hoping. I'm looking for the rookies, and that's what I'm going to be evaluating this whole year. What trajectory are they going? And I'm excited for the future with the Miami Dolphins. I think they're heading in the right direction, even though they may not do much this year, maybe even next year. But I think maybe somebody in that office has put a little birdie in Greer's head, or maybe he's not the one even in charge anymore of the draft and forming this team again. I don't know. So we'll see. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you joining. God bless. And remember, Dolphins number one, baby. Dolphins number one.